It was dusk when a piercing scream shattered the silence of the forest. The villagers rushed to the edge of the thick woods, but no one dared to enter. There were whispers, harsh tones barely louder than the rustle of leaves in the wind. "The boy has vanished." Some said it was the spirit of the forest. Others claimed it was the punishment of the gods. All anyone knew was that young Is, who had set out on a simple errand for his mother, had disappeared. But little did they know, Is's journey was only just beginning. Is was a curious boy, the kind whose feet were always caked in dust from wandering where he shouldn't. Born in a village nestled between two rivers, his heart was filled with dreams that were bigger than the tall baobab trees. But he was also restless, always questioning, always searching. And on that particular evening, his curiosity led him too far. It began when his mother asked him to gather firewood before the sun dipped below the horizon. But as Is wandered deeper into the forest, he stumbled upon a narrow path he'd never seen before, winding like a snake into the heart of the woods. Is hesitated, but the pull was too strong. "A path unknown is a path worth exploring," he muttered, his voice trembling with a thrill he didn't quite understand. With a firm grip on his small stick, he took a step, and then another, until the path had swallowed him whole. The shadows grew longer, and the forest came alive with strange sounds, whispers, faint and ghostly, calling his name. Is. Is. Just as fear began to creep into his heart, Is heard a distinct voice, a slow, deep voice that seemed to come from the ground itself. "What brings a young lad like you so far into my forest?" He spun around and found himself face to face with the strangest creature he had ever seen. A giant tortoise, its shell cracked and worn, with eyes that gleamed like polished stones, was looking right at him. Are you talking to me?" He stammered, half in shock, half in awe. Yes, the tortoise replied, rolling its eyes as if this were the most natural thing in the world. "Who else would I be talking to?" "The trees." The tortoise chuckled, a sound like old bones creaking. "My name is Ence, the wisest creature in this forest. And you, young boy, are trespassing." Is gulped, feeling both intimidated and intrigued. "I didn't mean to trespass. I was just, looking for something." The tortoise tilted its head. "Something? Or perhaps, someone?" Ence's eyes sparkled knowingly. "You seek yourself, child." He frowned. "But I'm right here." The tortoise laughed. "Are you? To find oneself, one must walk paths hidden from ordinary eyes. If you wish to truly know who you are, follow me." Without waiting for an answer, Ence turned and began shuffling down a winding path, muttering under his breath about young ones and their impatience. Is followed, stepping carefully over roots and under low-hanging branches. Soon, they arrived at a clearing where three strange figures awaited: a tall man made of smoke, a woman with the head of an owl, and a small boy holding a flaming staff. Each figure challenged Is in their own way. The smoky man tempted him with visions of riches, promising him wealth beyond his dreams if he would abandon his search and turn back. But Is resisted, remembering his mother's words, "Riches are but dust without purpose." The owl-headed woman offered him the gift of flight, to soar above the clouds and see the world. But Is shook his head. "How can I understand the earth if I live in the sky?" Finally, the boy with the flaming staff asked him a riddle that seemed impossible. For hours, Is pondered, scratching his head, until a spark of understanding dawned in his mind. The answer lay not in the riddle itself but in his willingness to persevere. With each trial, Is felt something within him change, growing wiser, stronger, surer of himself. At last, Ence led him to a small pool nestled in a grove of ancient trees. The water was so still it looked like glass, reflecting the stars above. "Look into the pool," Ence instructed. Is knelt by the water's edge and stared into his own reflection. But instead of seeing the boy who had entered the forest, he saw a young man with the strength of a lion, the patience of the tortoise, and the wisdom of his ancestors. "Who are you?" En's voice was gentle now, almost a whisper. He smiled, a newfound confidence shining in his eyes. "I am Is, son of my village, a boy who once got lost but now knows the path." Ens nodded. "And remember, young one, life will lead you astray many times, but as long as you carry your heart and mind, you will always find your way back." As dawn broke, Is made his way back to the village, carrying with him not just the firewood but a spirit renewed and a heart brimming with wisdom. Moral of the story. Isa's journey teaches that sometimes, the only way to find ourselves is by stepping into the unknown. True wisdom comes not from wealth or power but from understanding who we are and the courage to walk our path. Life is filled with trials and temptations, but staying true to oneself is the only way to overcome them. As he stepped back into the familiar sights and sounds of his village, he found his mother waiting, her eyes wide with worry. She rushed to him, pulling him into a tight embrace. "Oh, Is. Where have you been?" He smiled softly. "I went to find myself, Mama. And I think I did."